How you doing? This is Cash again. Like I told you before, I'm gonna read a few chapters out of my book. Alright? Chapter I'm getting ready to get involved in right now. It's gonna start a lot of stuff, right? It's gonna answer some questions that everybody's been having pertaining to a lot of issues the hip hop community been having in regards to certain groups of people they didn't want in their culture. Alright? This is called Among Us. Alright? There's an issue that I need to address and settle for once and for all. The issue is the three main questions concerning the hip hop community about homosexuality in the hip hop culture. Alright? The first question is whether or not was there b-boy dancers who were founding fathers or mothers of the culture that was homosexuals. The answer to that question is yes. Okay. The second question is whether or not was there rappers, hype persons who were founding fathers or mothers of hip hop culture that was homosexuals. The answer to that question is yes. The third question is whether or not was there graffiti artists who were founding fathers or mothers of the hip hop culture that was homosexuals. The answer to that question is yes. Now there is where the answers to those three main questions get a little tricky. Rather, here's where it get a little tricky. Alright? All the known founders who was homosexuals that were rappers, b-boy dancers, hype person, and graffiti artists were all butchers, lesbians, and bisexual women. Let me repeat that again to y'all. Alright? All the known founders who was homosexuals that was rappers, b-boy dancers, hype persons, graffiti artists were all butchers, lesbians, and bisexual women. There were no known male homosexuals who were b-boys, rappers, hype persons, or graffiti artists among the founding fathers of the culture. There weren't. Alright? Now, I'm not sure if butchers, lesbians are considered one and the same among the homosexual community. You have to give me a break with that issue for now because I'm only trying to give the homosexuals their just due in hip hop culture. Nevertheless, there were male homosexuals who was down with the butchers, lesbians, and bisexual women crews. These men was boosters who got men clothes out of stores for us. Some was robbers who they knew. A lot of b-boys who were stick-up kids. In some cases, they helped set up robberies for us. The truth of the matter is that homosexuals were down with the culture from the onset, especially buying weed and dust from us because the Jamaicans didn't much like homosexuals. They called them batty boys, as in boys, men who take a big one up their back. Batty boys. The homosexual butchers or bisexual women were gang members from back in those days. They were down with us from the beginning. They rode their own mini bikes with us. They had whole crews of women that were sticking up men in clubs on the streets. They had a few that played on the basketball teams with us. There were some that rocked the boy outfits better than we did. All right. One of my girlfriends, my ex-girlfriends, was bisexual and ran a crew of cuties that was bisexuals. I can't begin to tell y'all some of the times we had in her apartment getting turned up with all them cuties. Alright, in her bedroom. Yes, the reality is that homosexual women help start the culture. Understand what I'm saying? Homosexual women help start the culture. Right? So when you ask about homosexual, you're saying that it wasn't no known men homosexuals in our culture. There were women. Alright? So, they was the homosexual community. and should be given a just due too. All right. I told you from the beginning of this book that this is the afraid to tell and what wannabes can't tell, raw, uncut, and unknown facts about the hip hop culture. Beginnings. All right. Peace. Now, that chapter is kind of short because it's straight to the point. All right. But now I'm gonna address the issue why the homosexual, the men, the founding fathers of the culture, had a problem with allowing male homosexuals into the culture. All right. It was so much that they had a problem with the homosexuals. Period. It's just that this society at this day and time is starting to come to the reality that boys' institutions back then had acceptance, a mass acceptance of having homosexual men predators, pedophiles, and rapists taking advantage of the youth, the young boy youths. All right? This was a common practice, man. And only this day and time that people bringing this stuff out, they got lawsuits going in for the churches. All these boys agencies that grew these kids is getting abused in, right? It was mass. And this is just institutions that was legit. All right? Now we talking about people that come from the street that was out there starving to death. All right? That was doing things that going back and forth to jail. These dudes was bringing this jailhouse mentality to the streets and challenging young dudes in the streets and talking about if they tough. You know what I'm saying? But they putting them on role models. They role playing like they in the penitentiaries. You know what I'm saying? And they actually putting these dudes in situations, man, and actually trying these dudes, man. And some of these dudes is actual bandits, man. And they having these little young boys up in there talking about they trying to make them tough, and they trying to go up in them. You feel what I'm saying? And a lot of dudes is getting had like that. All right? So the hip hop community, those of us that the founding fathers, is like, yo, it's enough of this bullshit, because the fact that we couldn't even trust our own people. We learning in the streets how to avoid getting raped, molested, and watching who might be a pedophile among your own people in places that you supposed to be going, like the boys club, the gyms, all these places that were boys supposed to be hanging out and doing their thing. You have to worry about being people that have these homosexual men predators, pedophile, and sexual rapists, man, trying to get at you. You understand what I'm saying? You have to learn how to fight. Why? You have to learn how to fight. You fucking 10 years old. You have to learn at 9 years old. You have to learn how to fight and protect yourself from people that supposed to be your fucking people, that supposed to be protecting you. All right? And these are all men. All right? We ain't talking about women because I have no idea what the women was. We show honor with the men. You know what I'm saying? Because the women was in our circle, but they wasn't raping us or trying to rape us. You feel what I'm saying? And we have to fight our fucking way through life, man, worrying about who the fuck we can trust, man. You follow me? This is why we're so hard on these male homosexual predators, pedophiles, and rapists. You understand what I'm saying? People who was allowing that as a common practice and was accepting that. Like I said, it's only this day and time that they even start to check the violence that they was doing back in those days. And this is talking about, what, 50, 60 years later? Are you fucking kidding me? This is why the founding fathers never allowed this in, because they said enough is enough. Because people had an attitude back then that, yo, if you can't stand on your own, you can't stand on your own. He's like, no, fuck that. You don't have to learn how to fight. You don't have to learn. If you're not a part of that, if that's not what you're trying to be, we're not going to let nobody take advantage of you. You got to, if one of them pedophiles or one of them rapers or one of them try to get at them, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about males, we was all going to get at them. We was going to make sure that nigga never violate another young dude in our presence, man. So we never let them dudes even come around us. All right? People talking about Bam Bam might have been doing some things like that. I don't know. I know Bam. But I ain't never seen him do that. Nobody I know said they seen him or they've got views bomb or whatever the situation is. But to say that he wasn't around a bunch of niggas, for them, like I said, back in them days, dudes was going to jail because they was in the streets. They was doing crimes. So they going back and forth in jail. So you had a lot of booty bandits that was in the crews, not the hip hop crews, not our crews, but the older crews. You feel what I'm saying? And them dudes is bandits. And them dudes ain't had no problem making niggas suckers personal. You understand what I'm saying? It's showing that nigga's nobody. You know what I'm saying? That he's soft, he shouldn't be a part of the crew. You know what I'm saying? So they was challenging these dudes, man. We like, yo, no, this enough is enough. I'm gonna tell you right now, alright? This is real emotional for me. Alright? Because there's a few incidents that I personally witnessed, right? That was people that was among the founding fathers, man. You know what I'm saying? They got abused. We was growing up, I had a little friend, man. You know what I'm saying? He had to go to one of them boy homes or something like that because his mother was on drugs. What happened to his father, I have no idea. He escaped. He came back around the block. The boy should be one of them guys, man, that you laugh, play, always playing, nice little young dude. You know, everybody loved him. When he came out, man, the dude his whole life was just gone. You know what I'm saying? And we was like, yo, what's wrong? He couldn't look us in the eye. We was like, yo, what's wrong with you, man? You all right? So he finally came and told us what happened. He said when he went to the little spot where the pool had a boy home or something like that, that they raped him. You follow me? They took the life of this little dude, man. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't big enough to protect himself like that. You know what I'm saying? And that just broke everybody's fucking heart, man. That broke my fucking heart, man. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't know to take us up there 'cause we were ready to kill somebody behind that guy. You know what I'm saying? That was our little man. You know what I'm saying? Then there was a friend of ours, right? The older crew, they call themselves saying, yo, this guy here is soft, blah, 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 blah. And they gonna try to prove to us that this guy is soft. So they putting pressure on him like he's in the penitentiary. You understand? You know, some Maytag shit, making him get on his knees, hook him when they slapping him up and all this other noise, trying to make him fight back. And he ain't, you know, he's kind of scared. He's scared. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Then they trying to do some real fight, but my man Melly Mel stepped up and said, yo, man, hold on, man. Yo, no, y'all don't do nothing to him. Yo, come on, get out of it. And he's like basically said, yo, to me, he said, yo, man, them niggas is that serious, man. They gonna make him do his, do some real foul shit. He said, that's how them things living. You know what I'm saying? Now, that day, we ain't see him no more, right? Homeboy never come back around the way, right? Later on, we found out these dudes were caught up with him later on. You know what I'm saying? Turned them out and had them down there. And they was selling them down there like a hoe down in one of them little spots where they selling boys. You follow me? So they turned them out and put them on some prostitute shit. You know what I'm saying? So we was like, yo, never again, man, that we gonna let nobody do anything to the youth like that no more, man. We gonna put a stop to this predator shit. You follow me? So I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna say, make it violent and clear why the hip hop community found the fathers, you know what I'm saying, are so hard on them homosexual predators, pedophiles, and rapers. You follow me? Now, if you don't fall into that category and you decide to open your mouth and speak on behalf of your community, all right, the first thing you need to come out your mouth is to apologize for your community, for the damage that they did to all them young boys back in the days and took them boys' manhood. All right, so don't sit up here talking about you got a problem over the hip hop community's blackboarding these male homosexuals. All right, if you're not gonna sit up here and apologize and take responsibility for the people that foul ass niggas that was in your associations, that's in your community, and put a stop to that. All right, if you don't got nothing, if you can't say that when you first open your mouth about what I'm saying to it, don't say nothing because you have nothing to say. I'm out of here.